Today we are going to be talking about what every single World Cup player needs right now heading into this tournament. And let's start with the obvious one, Messi. What Messi needs the most right now is to prove that 2022 wasn't just a farewell gift from the football gods. Because let's be honest, there are people out there who are already saying that Qatar was his swan song and that this World Cup is going to expose the fact that he's 37 years old and running on fumes. And I get it. I understand the concern. But what Messi needs to do is come into this tournament with something to prove. Not to the world. He's already done that. But to himself. Because if he has a great World Cup at 37 years old, we are never having the GOAT debate again. That's it. It's over. Ronaldo fans go home. Pack it up. But if he has a quiet tournament and Argentina goes out in the quarters, people are going to say Qatar was a one-off. That it was luck. That the bracket was soft. What Messi needs most is one more defining moment on the biggest stage. And at 37, every game could be his last. So the hunger needs to be there from minute one. Kylian Mbappé. Mbappé is probably in the most pressure-filled position of any player at this World Cup, and I don't think people are talking about that enough. This guy is supposed to be the next Messi, the next Ronaldo, the best player on the planet for the next decade. And yet at the last World Cup he scored 4 goals in the final and still lost. 4 goals. In a World Cup final. And he still ended up on the losing side. That's the most heartbreaking individual performance in World Cup history, and he still hasn't won it. What Mbappé needs the most right now is to actually lift that trophy, because if he doesn't win this World Cup, and maybe the next one, people are going to start questioning whether he can ever be considered truly great. The argument is going to be that he can't carry a team when it matters most. That he needs everything around him to be perfect. France has an incredible squad. There are no excuses this time. No injury problems. No drama in camp. If Mbappé doesn't deliver in this tournament, the heir to the throne narrative starts to crack. He needs to be the best player at this World Cup. Not top 5. The best. Erling Haaland. Now let's talk about Haaland, because this is a fascinating situation. This guy scores goals for fun at club level. He broke the Premier League scoring record. He dominates Champions League nights. But at international level with Norway, he's basically invisible. And the reason is simple: Norway didn't even qualify. So Haaland is sitting at home watching this World Cup, which is genuinely one of the most bizarre things in football. The best striker on the planet is not at the World Cup. What Haaland needs the most right now is honestly just to use this as fuel. Watch every single game. Watch every striker. Watch Messi. Watch Mbappé. Watch whoever wins the Golden Boot. And come back next season absolutely furious. Because the one knock on Haaland's legacy before it's even really started is that he's never done it on the international stage. Norway need to qualify for the next one, and Haaland needs to drag them there himself, because right now there's an asterisk next to his name and he knows it. Vinicius Jr. Vinicius is probably the most exciting player at this entire World Cup, and what he needs the most is to have a complete performance from start to finish in every single game. Because the issue with Vini right now is that he shows up in flashes. He'll have 20 minutes where he is absolutely unplayable. The best player on the pitch by a mile. And then he'll disappear for 30 minutes and make a bad decision and you forget he was even there. At club level with Real Madrid, that's fine because you have Bellingham and Valverde and Modric covering for those quiet spells. But at international level with Brazil, when Vini goes quiet, Brazil goes quiet. What he needs is consistency for 90 minutes game after game. And if he can do that, Brazil will win this World Cup. It's that simple. Because when Vinicius is locked in and playing with that intensity for a full game, there is genuinely no fullback on the planet that can stop him. He needs to be that guy for Brazil for the whole tournament, not just in highlights. Jude Bellingham. Bellingham is going into this World Cup as England's most important player, and I think that's both exciting and a little worrying. Because Bellingham is incredible. We all know that. But England have a habit of putting too much on one person's shoulders and then wondering why it doesn't work out. What Bellingham needs the most is a strong supporting cast around him actually showing up, because at Real Madrid he has world-class players making runs, creating space, taking pressure off him. With England it sometimes feels like he has to do everything himself. He has to create. He has to score. He has to defend. He has to be the leader in the dressing room. He's 21 years old. What he needs is for Saka and Foden and the rest of them to stand up and take some of that weight off his shoulders. Because if they do that, Bellingham can be the best player at this tournament. If they don't, England are going out in the quarters again, and we are going to be having the same conversation we've had for the last 30 years. Rodri. Rodri is the most underrated player at this World Cup, and it's not even close. Nobody is talking about him the way they should be. When Rodri got injured last season, Manchester City fell apart. Completely fell apart. And Spain, when he's not at his best, look like a completely different team. What Rodri needs the most going into this tournament is to stay fit and stay healthy, because Spain's entire system runs through him. He's the engine. He's the brain. He sets the tempo. He wins the ball back. He recycles possession. Without him, Spain are just a bunch of technically gifted players without a heartbeat. But with him fully fit and firing, Spain are one of the genuine favourites to win this whole thing. He's not going to win the Golden Boot. He's not going to be on the poster. But if Spain win this World Cup, Rodri is going to be the reason why. And I think people need to start talking about him in that conversation right now before the tournament even starts. Pedri. Now Pedri is in a similar situation to Bellingham, except the concern is slightly different. With Bellingham, it's about whether the team around him shows up. With Pedri, it's about whether his body holds up. Because this guy has had so many injury problems over the last few years. Every time he gets going and looks like the best midfielder in the world, something goes wrong physically. What Pedri needs the most at this World Cup is 90 minutes in every single game. No substitutions at 65 because Pedri is tired. No precautionary rest. Because when Pedri plays the full game, Spain are a different level. He sees passes that don't exist yet. He moves the ball in tight spaces better than almost anyone at this tournament. But Spain need the full version of Pedri for the full tournament, and historically they haven't been able to get that. If he stays fit, this could be his coming out party on the bigger stage. Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal is 17 years old, and he is going to this World Cup as one of Spain's most important players. Let that sink in. 17. And what he needs the most is to not let the moment get too big for him, because this is a completely different stage to La Liga or even the Euros. The World Cup has a completely different energy. The pressure is different. The scrutiny is different. Every mistake gets amplified 100 times. What Yamal needs to do is just play his game. Don't try to be Messi. Don't try to be the hero. Just do what you do at Barcelona. Take players on, create chances, be direct. Because if he plays within himself and trusts his ability, he is going to terrorize fullbacks at this tournament. He's already doing it at 17 at the highest level. But the World Cup has a way of swallowing young players whole if they're not mentally ready. I think Yamal is ready. But that's what he needs to show. Harry Kane. Harry Kane is at this World Cup having finally won a trophy at club level with Bayern Munich. And for a long time people were using that as a stick to beat him with, that he'd never won anything. Well, now he has. So what Harry Kane needs the most at this World Cup is to take that same mentality, that same winning feeling, and bring it to the international stage, because England have never really had Kane at his absolute best in a major tournament for a full run. He's scored goals, but England have always found a way to bottle it before he can lift a trophy. This might genuinely be his last World Cup at the top level. He's 31. He's not slowing down, but time is undefeated. What Kane needs is for England to finally get out of their own way and give him a real chance to win something with the national team. Because if they do, he'll deliver. He always delivers. The question has never been about Kane. It's always been about the 11 around him. Neymar. Neymar is the most complicated conversation at this entire World Cup, because nobody knows what version of Neymar is going to show up. We haven't seen him play consistently in over a year because of injuries. He looks heavier than he used to. He's not moving the same way. And Brazil, as talented as they are, genuinely need Neymar to be Neymar if they want to win this thing. What Neymar needs the most right now is to put his body first and actually get through the tournament without getting injured. Because that has been the story of his World Cup career. 2014 he got injured in the quarters. 2022 he got injured in the group stage and came back but wasn't fully himself. If he can stay on the pitch for the whole tournament, even at 70% of his best, he makes Brazil a completely different team. But if he goes down again, and there's a very real chance of that, this could be the ending that his legacy really did not deserve. Cristiano Ronaldo. And lastly, we have to talk about Ronaldo, because this World Cup is probably his last one, and the conversation around him right now is really uncomfortable if you're a Ronaldo fan. He's playing in Saudi Arabia. He's not in a top league anymore. He's not being tested week in, week out at the highest level. And what Ronaldo needs the most at this World Cup is to remind everybody why he was considered one of the greatest of all time. Because right now the narrative is slipping away from him. Every time Messi does something great, the gap in the GOAT debate gets wider. What Ronaldo needs is a defining World Cup performance. Goals. Leadership. Portugal going deep in the tournament. Because if Portugal go out early and Ronaldo is quiet, that's going to be the image people remember. Not the Champions Leagues. not the Ballon d'Ors. They're going to remember a guy who went to Saudi Arabia to count his money and came back for one last World Cup and couldn't deliver. He has one more chance to change that story. And knowing Ronaldo, knowing that ego, knowing their hunger, I actually think he's going to come out and surprise some people. But he has to. There is no other option for his legacy at this point.